All right, welcome back to Folo's Convos. We are doing part two of the segment with my parents, Senior Patterson, Bube Patterson. I'm the author of Looking Through the Fog. And we were just sitting here talking about experience I had right before getting sentenced in county, where I had written a letter where I was venting to my wife about Senior. And my intention was to mail this off and tell them how I felt before I go to prison. So as I read the whole letter through, she didn't say nothing the whole time. And once I finished, she was like, "You're not sending that, are you?" I'm like, "Yeah, I'm sending this. Everything I said is true, and this is how I feel." Blah blah blah. I said, "Baby, you can't send that." I'm like, "Why not?" She said, "Because you've already said those things at one point or another to them, right?" I'm like, "Yeah, but I need to say it again because obviously he didn't hear me." Blah 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 blah. And she just sat there and listened to me for a second. And I'm like, "You're not gonna say nothing?" She's like, "You can't send that." Well, what am I supposed to do? She's like, "Write the opposite." I'm like, "Write the opposite?" "No, I wanna say this." And she was like, "Baby, sure, you can send that, but you're not gonna get the kind of response you want.
Right.
Write the opposite." So I'm now all heated because I want her to be on my side. I want her to take up for me, like, "Yeah, baby, you lick that stamp and you put it on there, and you send that to him." And she's like, "Nope." So I'm like, "All right, I'll think about it." So I went and I sat back in my bunk and I reread the letter, and I'm open to myself because she's telling me I can't send this letter. I want to send this letter. And I said, "All right, I'm gonna try it her way." So everything I said in there, I changed. Like, "You know what? I'm sorry if I wasn't the son I needed to be, and for whatever part I played in, because I did some dirt too. I tried to eat with him a few times, and you know, make him pay and silly stuff because of that resentment, right?" So I caused him a little heartache with his credit and everything. We got the same name, so.
He said, "Well, sure."
So I'm like, I showed him. So in the letter, I was apologizing for being that person and for whatever way I contributed to the riff, and I really tried to express to him how much I loved him, even though I wasn't feeling very loving at the moment. I'm writing the opposite. I sent that letter off, tore up to Owen, and about a week later, I was on the phone with you, and you was like, "Guess who I got a phone call from?" I'm like, "Who?" You said, "Your father. Senior called me." I'm like, "For what?" He's like, "He told me he got your letter, and he want to know when is your sentencing date." Blew my mind because lo and behold, what my wife said worked. He read this letter, and instead of me barking at him about yada yada yada, it was me just sharing love, and he received it. And now he wanted to be here. And flew down,
Sure did.
was here for my sentencing date. The jail allowed him a special visit so he could be able to spend some time with me before I left. And from that moment forward,
It's beautiful.
we have been inseparable as far as communication. He's been there every step of the way.
Amen.
And for the whole amount, it was 6 years I was on the yard, was there for me. And it really hit home for me how much you really had my back through my lowest point, and was really there. And the crazy part about it was that in the midst of all of that, I was truly, truly able to feel your love. And even though you showed it in your own way, I began to understand what that looks like. And as I began to recognize the person that you were and what shaped you, what made your perceptions into what they were, it helped me to understand how I needed to perceive you. And so I began to just love on you, and that bond just grew and grew and grew, and you would come down and visit. And so to say where we are right now, man, it's
Put one on your books.
it, constantly, monthly, making sure, I didn't go without, and, to be able to enjoy what we have now, I can truly say that I am so blessed to have you as my father. I thank you for who you have become in my life. And even though our early years may have been challenging, our latter years have been a blessing.
Amen.
That's good. Most definitely. I love you to death. And I thank God for the dynamic we have now. Even just the way two of y'all are cordial and able to have, fun conversations. It's a beautiful thing to be able to enjoy these relationships with y'all. But my question is this: is as y'all both went through um, your own experiences of me being incarcerated and the challenges that came along with that, how did that affect you in regards to um, the lens you were looking through? Let's start with you, because I know you're gonna start crying when you start talking about yours. So we'll let him go first.
It's gonna be a real while over there.
You need
Well,
some-
let's say Pat and I we got separated for quite a while. Then we finally went the legal step of getting divorced. But we can truly say we had a very amicable divorce.
Mm-hmm.
There was not one harsh thing between us.
It wasn't.
We had a mutual agreement from day one. When none of this backstabbing, you do this, you do that.
Mm-mm.
We sit down together before it happened and decided what we want to do.
Mm-hmm.
So it was something we got along with.
Yeah.
And to this very day, we are still like this.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I can call her anytime. She can call me anytime. We
Friends
can
with
talk.
his girlfriend.
She's called me, and she's prayed for me on the phone, made me feel much better, So things like that that bond is gonna always be there.
Right.
And you're like that glue that keeps us together.
Right.
So,
yeah.
and every time we talk, she'll say, well, your son said this.
Right.
Or your son did that.
Right.
We need to talk to him about this. Or you need to talk to him about that. I say, well, okay, I'll give him a call later. Or if I talk, when was the last time you talked to your son?
Right.
Comments like that. It's just like we're still there. And basically, we are.
Yeah.
Because you were there.
Exactly.
And that's mainly what it is.
He is a glue.
You are the glue that's
kept us
holding
together.
this together.
Mm-hmm.
We may not be physically together, but we are together.
Right.
Like I said, I'm
Never
way
on
over
the
in
side.
Florida on the East Coast.
Right.
She's in Texas.
Mm-hmm.
You're in Louisiana, Arizona. But where we are now, together. I was so pleased and happy to be willing and able, and healthy enough to be here to see your 50th
Isn't that
birthday.
something?
Right.
Man.
and to celebrate it with my son
Right.
as a family.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
that's what was the joyous thing in my life. So,
Beautiful.
and I'm sure we're gonna have many more to come.
See, that's what I'm talking about right there.
Mm-hmm.
And it's really is a blessing to be able to say that, because like I said, last year I wasn't here, to be able to enjoy that. And so, to be home for, this occasion has been monumental on two levels. First one home in 9 years, but also it being my 50th. And what better way to enjoy it than to have the two of y'all here, because I really believe that the whole time I was gone, a part of y'all was there with me. Y'all went through that struggle as well.
Mm-hmm.
Knowing that I was, going through the things I was going through, the environment I was in, that had to be challenging for y'all emotionally at times as well.
Very much.
I know it was tough for you. You shared that with me. Lord, when are you gonna let my baby out? They ain't passed no new law yet, and the governor ain't said nothing.
I sure did that. Amen.
But now we here.
And now we're here. And I remember you calling, you had a calling on your life, if you don't mind me saying that.
I don't.
He was 8 years old, and a preacher asked me, was that my son? I never forget, it was in Beaumont, Texas. And he said he gonna preach the word of God one day. And so when I look like the more I tell him, he run the opposite direction. And so when he went to jail for the first time, we couldn't see him for 2 weeks. And then when I went to the jail to see him, and at that time you would talk on the phone behind the glass.
Mm-hmm.
And he started crying, and he said these words to me. He said, all my life, you told me how good God was and how much he loved me. And it took for me to be in here to see how much he loved me. And then as time passed, you repented and gave your life to Christ. And you had been in jail maybe 2.5, 3 years.
3 months. No, 3 months.
But, okay, when you gave your life to Christ.
Yeah.
But then the whole time in county was what, 2.5 to
Almost
3
3
years?
years.
Almost 3 years. So we would go visit you periodically, and then when we go to court and stuff. And so when we got ready to go to court, no, we went to court the last time, they sentenced you. So you called me weeks later and said, I'm getting ready. And you had started up, so you repented, you gave your life to Christ. You started a Bible study in county.
Mm-hmm.
You called me a few weeks later and said that I'm going to be leaving soon, but they don't let us know where they're sending us because we can't know and we can't let the family know. And I started crying because, you know, this is my boy, my child, my big baby, fixing to be sent away, you know, and I was told, and seeing TV shows, prison was no fun place, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
And so, I remember Ella Wells, bless his heart, he went to visit you on a Saturday, and he testified on Sunday that the God told him, he said, man, this man shouldn't be in here. He's a good man, and he shouldn't be in here. And I never forget, Pastor Wells stood up that Sunday and said what was said to him by the gods. So when you could call me to tell me you was getting ready to go, but you didn't know where, and I started crying, and you said, don't cry, I'm gonna be all right. God got me. He's sending me on an assignment. And when my assignment is up, he gonna set me free. And you said, the guards even said, man, I don't know what we're gonna do without you because you kept this place together. Mm-hmm. You had peace. Even you said to me yourself that they will come to you. You was taking life coaching before you went, mm-hmm. you and Queen. And you was counseling people. Mm-hmm. And at the time, everybody's supposed to stay in their own group, the white with the white, the black with the black, or in whoever. But every different groups were coming to you for prayer, mm-hmm. or for counsel. You would counsel them, or mm-hmm. life coaching, or whatever. And they would come for you to advice, or you would pray with them, stuff like that. So when you begin to tell me, and when you said those words to me, I felt calm. You said that don't cry. I'm gonna be all right because God is sending me on an assignment. And when my assignment is up, He's gonna set me free. So you were in being sent to prison. But from that point on, I got such a relief because I knew that God had you. Glory. I know that God had you. And to hear my son telling me, don't worry about me, I'm gonna be all right. As a mother, it gave me such a peace. It gave me such a peace. And when I would talk over the period of time, you would call me periodically, and I would talk to you, you was always just so calm. You wasn't stressing, I can't wait till I get out of here. You were always calm. And it's like you just knew that you was in the palm of God's hand, and you wouldn't worry about a thing. And that gave me such a peace as a mother and my only child, such a peace to know that you was okay. And then you said God was sending me on assignment. They sent you all together. You was in 6 places, right?
No, 4.
Before you was at County, you went to Douglas, you went to Kingman, you went closer to home when they had a riot. You went to Pasture Junction, and then you came to Alhambra.
You remember better than me.
You're
not going down with it. No, you was there, and you was there. Well, hold on now. I know you went there too.
I kept up with my baby. I know where he was. I know where my baby was. Look, Mama know what you talking about. But no, but the beautiful thing about it was, you started a Bible study at County. You went to Douglas, you started a Bible study at Douglas. Men started giving their life to Christ. You started a Bible study at Kingman. They had a riot, then they sent you to the next closest home. You started a Bible study there. They sent you to Pasture Junction, you started a Bible study there. And then, in the process of all this, you began to write a book. And then you had asked Queen, you started writing an autobiography. I'm getting tired with it. But then they wanted you to change storylines and change your name and change this. So you told them to told Queen to ask the publisher, can I write a fiction? So then you begin to write a fiction, and it was just amazing how you wrote that book so fast. I think 7 weeks. And you wrote it, and I never forget these words. You were writing with a pencil. You didn't have a laptop. you were writing with a pencil and you turn around and wrote it again, the same with ink. And then you were going to put it together on the, Queen was putting it together to send it to the publishers. So, it just blew my mind, all the things that you went through and everywhere you went. And I remember these words when you were in Apache Junction. You called me and you said they're getting ready to, and every time we went, we had to go 4 hours one way. So we wound up staying overnight because, not to just turn around and come right back. When you called that time and you said, I'm getting ready to be sent to Apache Junction, Alhambra, and I'm gonna be just 25 minutes away from y'all. And you said, my assignment is almost up. I'm fixing to get ready to be sent to Alhambra. My assignment is almost up. My next stop gonna be home. And that's exactly what happened. They sent you to Alhambra. You was there for what, a couple of years?
4.
Is that long? And then they sent you home, and it's just what you had. You really prophesied your destiny. Because when you spoke to me and you said, don't cry, God is sending me on assignment. Glory. Glory, glory, glory to God. Thank you, Jesus. Don't cry, God got me. He's sending me on assignment. And when my assignment is up, He's going to set me free. And I'm telling you, everywhere you went, you started a Bible study, and men gave their life to Christ. And then your last stop was Alhambra. You started a Bible study, then you came home.
Now wait a minute. Now is this Folo's Convos
Oh.
or Boobe's Convos?
Boobe's Convo that took over.
No, but everything you said is absolutely true. And the thing about it is that whole journey in itself was part of my making.
Mm-hmm.
It was something that helped to, first of all, redefine the lens that I looked through. My perception changed so much through that experience. And, as I began to see life differently, even the ideal of what this book was going to be went through its own stages of being peeled back.
Mm-hmm.
It's interesting because I wrote the memoir in its completion first, and we had the rewrites and the changes, and then I had to start from scratch and write the fictional version. And Queen told me, she said, you know how many words you wrote? And I'm like, I have no clue. This is right. She said, you wrote 70,700 something words.
70.
I say, you mean 700,000? 7,000? No, baby. 70,000. I said, no, 17,000? See, I'm looking at the bottom of the screen. It says 70,700 something.
Wow.
I said, there's no way in the world I could have sat there and said, you did. That's how many words it is. And not only did I write that with a pencil first, I turned around and wrote those same 70,000 plus words with a pen to give to her. So that in itself told me that this had purpose beyond what I can even imagine. If you would have told me that, okay, Folo, you got to write this book and it's going to be 70,000 words, I would have told you crazy.
And then writing it.
I'll do it when I get home and I can type it.
Right.
I'm not going to sit there and write it. But, here we are now being able to celebrate what has come from all of this.
Mm-hmm.
And, I think this is the basis of even us being able to sit here and have this conversation, is because through all these things that we've discussed, it has brought to fruition this point in time. Us being able to sit here and enjoy conversation, us being able to sit here and talk about the fruits of that labor, and also to be able to enjoy the excitement of what's going to come next.
Mm-hmm.
I look forward to being able to truly hold the title of best-selling author. I look forward to being able to say this is a best-selling novel, because I believe that this is what it is. And in your own way, y'all had a hand in that. Y'all brought about the person that they see at this day and time from something that was just a blink in the eye. And through the good and the bad, the ups and the downs. I appreciate and love y'all for what y'all have poured into me in your own way. Because as I begin to put the words on the pages, those things begin to pour back out. And now someone who reads this, I really believe that they're going to be able to see themselves in between these pages in one form or fashion. Who knows what will be revealed in their lives.
Right. Exactly.
And that's what it's about. It's about, being able to recognize that change is possible.
Mm-hmm.
We've all changed in some form or fashion. The whole dynamics of what we were and where we are now is different.
Amen.
We've grown,
Mhm.
and it's beautiful to be able to say that, because there are a lot of times people don't get to that point. You know, they go to their grave, you know, holding animosity toward, you know, their loved ones and one another, and we're able to sit here and laugh and love and enjoy this, and it's just a beautiful thing to experience. I'm so grateful to be able to have this opportunity with y'all. Really.
I am too.
You wanted to ask me something about Tyler?
Yes, I remember when they had give you all kind of trouble about the autobiography, then you went to fiction. How did you because when you and I have talked, because at one point I thought the book was about you, because there's some things in the beginning of the book, chapter 1, where you had told me about the shack, what is it
The
called?
strip shack.
The strip shack, and about several things that you had talked to me about was in there. So that's what made me ask you, was this about you? And then you went over, so how did you get to Thibodeau and Tyler? How did you come up with that part?
So when I had to transition from a memoir to a fictional story, the things that I was in the memoir were still very important to me, because I thought that there were some very eye-opening points. There were some nuggets of wisdom that I had, you know, gathered myself, and I wanted to share it, and I didn't want to lose that fact, even though I was writing a fictional story. So my challenge and goal became to try to take those same thoughts and wrap characters around it. So in my mind, it's like, how do I best say these things that I want to say anyway in story form? Thibodeau became an outlet for me to be able to express what I felt about the prison experience, because everything, you know, I wrote about arriving is how I felt initially, for the most part. And then Tyler became an outlet for that fog I was living in a good portion of my life. You know, the scales that was over my eyes, and seeing things one way when they really were another way. And so it was a matter of just trying to take all those emotions and feelings and begin to infuse them into those characters, and they just grew from there. You know, once I began to think about where it could go, then the story took on life of its own, and it was like a movie in my head. Here's the thing, though. This is what really told me that I had something on my hands. The memoir Senior read, right? Even with the second version he read, it took him forever to read it. Queen had sent it to him through email, and I would call him. I'm like, so where you at? Well, I didn't got to chapter 2, and been a couple days, but I'm getting to it. And I'll call him 3 or 4 days later. All right, Carl, I need you to go ahead and finish this, because I need to go ahead and turn it into it. Yeah, okay, I'm gonna get to it. I'll call him at the end of the week. He still ain't got no further. So it took him about 2-3 weeks to finish reading it. I get home from prison, and he is down here coming to visit, and he's sitting at the table reading the book. Mind you, a couple days prior, he was in the kitchen, read the first 100 pages straight through. I wasn't even at home. I was somewhere else, and they're like, "Yeah, Senior in here reading the book. He read 100 pages." What? Now, mind you, Senior does not like to read like that.
I'm definitely not an avid reader.
And then a couple days later, he comes and he finishes the book right there in front of me. For him to read the book in 2 settings blew my mind. So it was enough to engage him to the point where he went all the way through. I said, "Oh, I got something on my hands here." You know,
It drew him in.
It drew him enough for the way he had to go. He went all the way through it in 2 settings. So I'm like, if it's going to capture him and engage him in that way, then it's going to be a lot of people who typically don't read on a regular basis are going to enjoy this, because it's something that's worth reading. You know,
I like to say that is definitely true, because, like I say, I am not an avid reader. You know, one of my worst subjects in school was literature in English. But like I said, I was starting reading the final version of the book. I was sitting there, and I said, "Let me give me a copy of the book." I had already got my copies and copies from friends of mine, you know. And when you guys would hear autograph, I said, "Let me read a few pages while I'm sitting here and occupy my mind." And I said, and that first night, I did. I actually went through from page 1 to page 100.
Wow.
I stopped on page 100. I said, "Let me stop now," because I gotta go get some rest.
Uh-huh.
So I was back the next night. I said, well, they were still busy autographing books and getting things together. I said, well, I'll read a few more pages. And I sit there within that, less hour, hour and a half, finish the rest of that book.
The rest of the book.
Wow.
And I even impressed myself because I was glued to it.
Mm-hmm.
I would look up every now and then and say something to somebody else and then right back into the story. It captivated me because it drew me into the characters, what they were trying to do, what they were seeing in their own lives, how that storyline reflected to them, that fog they were looking through related to their life.
Right.
And I said, I can see what they're going through.
Mm-hmm.
So it's something gonna capture you, and I guarantee you, you're not gonna put it down once you get started.
That's what we're talking about. So there you have it, folks. We can keep talking and keep talking and keep talking. But I just want you to be able to have a small glimpse into the backstory of my life. Those who had a direct hand in giving me life. But also too, it's because of these two that I was even able to be here to present this novel. Looking Through the Fog is something that I believe is life-changing. I believe it's something that is insightful. I believe it's something that will help you to be able to look through a different lens. So we definitely encourage you to check it out, pick it up. You can go to any online retailer. You can go to www.folopatterson.com. We have it there as well. I'm doing a blog on there. Of course, we're doing the Folo's Convos. Ending to engage and interact with you because we have a message to share. And if my father would sit there and read the book all the way through into its sentence, believe me, that says a lot. My mother's still working on it.
She's working on it. I'm gonna get there, y'all.
But she's gonna get there. I thank y'all for checking us out and spending this time with us. I thank y'all too for sitting down and talking to me. I love y'all so much.
It's a pleasure.
My pleasure.
And it's been so awesome being able to spend this time with you. Is there any parting words that you would like to say to those who are watching before we go?
I think even though I haven't got there yet, I'm coming. But I think it's a blessing. It's very inspirational because as you read it, everybody gonna find something in there. One of my goddaughters called me and said how awesome the book was, how she was so blessed by it. And she said, I even seen some of myself in the book, things that I have gone through. And there's another lady, Sister Betty, that read the whole book. And she told me, she said, this is so good. She said, I'm an avid reader. I don't ever watch TV. All I do is read. And she said, this book is powerful. And she said, all these big words he used in there. And she said, for him to have never written a book before, she said, it's just awesome. And she said, I done read through fast, but now I done started reading it again a second time slower. So she has really been blessed by it. And even without read, and I read a good amount, I've been really blessed by it. So I encourage you to read it because it'll bless you.
How about you, Senior?
Well, I do something real quick, time. I can read it, you can read it, and I guarantee it. Put me on this. I guarantee it. You're going to enjoy it. And I will one day say, that's my son who's the #1 author.
All right. Amen.
Folo Patterson, Looking Through the Fog, Folo's Convos. Peace out. Love you.
God bless y'all.
Cool.